All right, so I'm pretty excited about this. I've had this idea for a few months now to make an analysis, a critique, not a critique because it's not criticizing, but an analysis of a folk story I saw in animated form here on YouTube. It's called Kirikou, and it was written, or the rendition that I saw was written by a French author. And to use his words, his rendition of it is loosely related to a traditional African folk tale. The original African folk tale is unbeknownst to me. If someone can help me out and point me to that, that'd be interesting. So this little project will be just based around his rendition of it. I hope it's not too far from the original, or at least the things that I'll be commenting on won't be too far from the original. But be that as it may, I hope you're interested in this anyway. If you're interested in people like Joseph Campbell, I think you'll really enjoy this series because that's the kind of stuff that I want to be talking about. The story of Kirikou is really a story of the little human avatar of life's journey, of the journey of the human being. And we'll approach it from that angle. And we'll talk about the different kind of literary strategies that are being used within the story, and talk about, I guess, just storytelling in general, in a sort of, in the basic sense, in that we're beginning with a myth or a folk legend, and using that as a good basis for understanding a lot of what storytelling has to offer. And when you hear people going on about how they just don't make them like they used to, or the literature today is not what it used to be, perhaps this will give you a better idea. But let's not dawdle, and let's jump right into it. All right, I'm going to do this a little bit like you might have seen on the extra features, or the special features on a DVD, where the director might offer commentary as the video plays. Instead of obviously talking about how the movie was made, we're much more interested in what is being told here on screen. And I've selected the video that has the original French actors with English subtitles that allow you to listen to what I'm saying and to clearly see, because you can read the subtitles, what the characters are saying at the same time. Like I say though, it might be best to watch this video in its full version without me babbling on. But I hope this is a good way of watching it too. Or at least that's why I'm making this project.
Mère, enfante-moi.
Un enfant qui parle dans le ventre de sa mère s'enfante tout seul.
So the incredible birth scene is, I think, best to be seen as a strategy of introducing a very important character into the story. Instead of just saying, okay, this is a story about a little kid named Kirikou, what rather we have is an extraordinary entrance of a character. You see this in myth, you see this in the Bible, you see this, not to immediately draw any similarities, but you guys know what I think about all of that. But again, it's an opportunity to say who's important in this story. And immediately we're given the problem. There's something about Karabakh.
Mère, où sont les frères de mon père?
Ils sont allés combattre Karabakh la sorcière. Et elle les a mangés.
Mère, où sont les frères de ma mère?
One thing to keep in mind when you're considering really tightly wound stories is precisely what the characters are saying when they say it. There's very little that's said in these kinds of stories that come across as, or that should be interpreted as, conversational. We're not watching an episode of Friends or something like that. Everything that's said is said with intention. So that scene there gives us an idea of a very significant priority. of Kirikou, he didn't ask, what do you guys do for fun? Where do you guys hang out? But it was, where the heck is everyone?
Tu n'es pas mon neveu. Je viens de quitter ma sœur qui n'avait pas encore accouché.
Maintenant, c'est fait. C'est moi. Je viens t'aider à combattre Karaba la sorcière.
Ne dis pas de sottises. Il n'est pas question que tu m'accompagnes.
And we have begun first the first major theme in this story. You will see this be repeated throughout the story, where you have our little avatar being rejected by the world that has been ongoing without him, and that has been ongoing in these many years without him. And you will see acts of individuality on part of Kirikou, and it becomes, like I said, it's a recurring theme, and it's very important to keep in mind when considering the story as a whole.
Cela me donnera de l'autorité. Est-ce que je vais faire ma mort comme mes frères?
N'aie pas peur, Roland. Je suis là.
Mais où es-tu?
Ici.
Oh, descends.
Oh, encore un peu. Je suis bien. Je vois tout le paysage à travers les petits trous.
Tu dois me laisser. Ce qui va se passer n'est pas pour les enfants. Et tu vas me gêner au moment où je risque ma vie.
Trop tard.
Maîtresse vénérée, un homme approche. Tremblez d'effroi, tremblez de joie. Elle approche, elle est là. Tremblez de joie.
One thing I did read about this story that doesn't so much reflect the myth so much as the rendition here is that the presentation of Karaba was dreamt up by the French the French author who adapted the story. And he said what he wanted to achieve was a very striking competing image between Karaba and Kirikou. Karaba being dressed with extravagance, has a look of malice, and where Kirikou is naked, actually, throughout the story. And very small, pipsqueakish, and so on.
Tu as un chapeau magique?
Oui?
Pourquoi t'appelle-t-il oncle?
C'est un chapeau poli.
Donne-le-moi.
Pas question.
Bien répondu.
Je laisserai tranquille ton village. Si tu me donnes
And actually, that being
ce chapeau.
said, now that I think about this story on a whole, I wonder if the very competitive contrast between Kirikou and Karaba is absolutely necessary. I wonder if, and I guess you can see for yourself as the story goes along
Que dis-tu?
as to whether or not that is actually the story that's being told, or if that adaptation on behalf of the French author was absolutely necessary.
Marché conclu.
It's all meaningful, just like we would make an intellectual argument and start with a premise. You start with a very tightly wound story like this, and we call it a theme. A theme isn't talking about, well, this is an African-themed story. Well, no, it's a pirate-themed story. No, it's essentially the same as the premise of, say, an intellectual argument. It's the premise of the story.
Eh bien,
What is the story? If you were to say, what is this story? Not what is it about, or what, how do they tell the story, or so on. But what is it? What is the message? So along with his exceptional birth, Kirikou has the ability to run very fast. And so he begins the story with these kind of superhuman characteristics that sort of crown him as really the hero and kind of the exceptional human being that we all try to aspire to. And I would challenge anyone to watch the entirety of this film and not once think of themselves as Kirikou in one way or another. That one of these scenes, if not one of these scenes, pass you by and say, I've been in that situation before. I think I would be very surprised. And I think that's the reason this story has become so popular both in. Actually, they made a play rendition of this too, as I understand.
Notre homme est de retour! C'est incroyable! La sorcière ne l'a pas trouvé! C'est un héros! Il est magnifique! Quel beau chapeau!
Mais c'est mon chapeau! Ah bon? Je l'ai trouvé sur la route.
Oh! C'est qui?
C'est Kirikou.
Mon neveu, paraît-il.
Mon fils.
Déjà? Il est
Sort of
minuscule.
Buddha-esque
Oui, je suis plus haut que
imagery
toi.
there. I'm sure it's perfectly
Le
intentional.
principal, c'est que j'ai retrouvé mon chapeau.
Donnez le chapeau! Donne vite ton chapeau ou nous sommes perdus. Que va-t-il se passer quand Karaba la sorcière s'aperçoit